Hello, everyone. Welcome for some Christmas free enterprise action. I am Rowdy Sniper, joined by Professor Renderer here in the booth. We got Firebird Lover doing the restream and Volgram pushing the buttons for us, and we are here for bringing you another community club showcase with the Lunar Racing Club. Ren,
Oh, yeah, it's good to be back here. Our flags are very straightforward, it seems. Looks like we have a Ribbon Room completion and Masai Mune, and we have to take out Ashura as part of our objectives. But we also, looks like we also have Yang as our hero. So we'll see Yang start hitting things hard and quick. uh, when we get later in the run.
absolutely young, not going to be too affected by some of these flags we've got on here. Pro taking what seems to be a forward seat a little. The gear we're going to get. The other one I'm kind of looking at right now is that unsafe flag for key items. We could have some very nasty or underground access behind something very nasty on the moon based on that flag.
Yeah, and I've hardly used this flag, but I know it has does have a lot of implications as far as logic is concerned. So we'll see how these runners handle this particular situation.
Well, we'll see if this whether how that flag rolls for this seed is going to depend on how naughty or nice it is here.
As it were, given that we are, of course, streaming this on Christmas, and I wish everyone here who's in the stream right now a Merry Christmas to those who celebrate it.
Absolutely. Some other things. Looking at these flags, we've got three moon objectives, like you point out. We're only looking for one boss hunt, which that Asura can be anywhere behind the package, can be behind the giant. So, not necessarily a gimme. All these objectives are required, so they will have to track her down at some point. And the other one that kind of stuck out to me is no starting kits, meaning that we're not going to that these runners are going to have to figure out how to get healing items right up front, especially if this Yang doesn't have a weight mage with him.
For sure, yeah. I'm very. This is definitely designed to maybe be a challenging one by all accounts. So, but these runners are very much skilled, and so this shouldn't be too much of a problem for them.
Agreed. Judge Doe and Cubs Rule, very experienced runners, very seasoned, and I do agree that it's going to be very interesting to see how these two tackle the challenges that are thrown in front of them.
So before we start this race here, is there anything that you're kind of wanting to see from this?
I would expect a lot of early looting myself just to get that cash reserve so they can get those healing items. With the T-Pro, you're not going to find things like vampires that can help make up for Yang's lack of power early game, but you're still going to want you might be able to find some of the Japanese items like grimoires, Gaia drums that can help make up that early power disadvantage, because like you said, eventually he's going to hit very, very hard. It just takes a lot of time to get him up to that point.
Yeah, since Yang's does scale with his levels, pretty much but it's more apparent with Yang in particular, and not just like, oh hey, here's Cecil, I have a big sword, and I'm just gonna hit hard really fast without with no problems whatsoever. Yang's not the case. He has to scale with his levels.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Even if they start out with a cane or a Sid or someone or an Edge with alongside that Yang, they're not going to necessarily have the access to those really strong swords to get them powered up quickly. So we'll see. Again, we'll see. It's T Pro can be somewhat generous, but it can be very. I've seen it be very stingy.
Yeah, in my experience with T Pro, it is very tricky to get what the weapons and gear you need very early on. So it's always been it's always been a tricky point for me, and that I've yet to overcome. But uh, yeah, well, but this we'll see how the T Pro uh, shakes down.
Absolutely, I think that early. I think that what these runners end up finding will go a long way in determining how this seed goes as we are dropping the gate and underway. Good luck to both. Good luck to all the runners. We have 3 runners tonight, and um, well, early power is going to be a question mark for a little bit. It looks like.
Yeah, with Edward being the partner and Legend Sword of which we can't use.
So, I am very much hoping for a dancing dagger somewhere in these chests early on, or at least in one of the shops in the early game here, because that'll go a long way.
Yeah, dancing daggers are a really good item to have just in this early game, especially when you have someone like Sid who can, or sorry, not sorry, Edward who can use the power there. Oh, then and we also see here as I as I'm thinking about it, we do see Rydia chilling in the inn.
Yeah. So far, a lot of characters that'll be very strong eventually. You can find Leviathan on the early game here, which will be very nice for her as well as Sylph. So Iridium may be the answer to some of the early going, but the problem is you got to get through those bosses to get the objective and to get the summoner. And that was a Lunar Sparkle waiting there, so we'll we'll see how nasty that is.
Yeah, with time we'll have to see. We'll see how this shakes down when we get to Baron Inn. I believe that was a cane that I saw over in the Kaipo area.
I think you're right. That experience of Cubs definitely coming into play there, recognizing the sprite immediately and a very fast reset. But I do think that you are correct, and that is Kane.
That is a character that could help offset Yang's lack of power, but since we are on T Pro, um, well, that might be a bit of an unnecessary factor for us at the moment because we are for both of these runners. They're gonna have to look for, um, they're gonna have to look for something that can a healer like a white mage, a Rosa, a Poron, any one of those two.
Yeah, that's definitely a good white mage, especially early on, just makes the early going so much smoother, especially once you get Berserk and Blink up. We'll also see where that Sand Ruby is for that cane, because that can be pretty much anywhere, which can always be tantalizing if you like using that Dragoon.
Yeah, Kane isn't a bad character by any means, um, but I probably wouldn't pick him up, at least not at the moment, until maybe a bit later on, when we're still uh, getting the party sorted out, and then when we have, if it's like too late, then we'll pass on it completely and just see that the Sand Ruby is just a key item that we just have.
Yeah, there may be another cane that's a little bit easier to get. So uh, usually a good number of options as far as characters. See the runners kind of taking the same looting path here, not seeing anything that really gets me jumping up and down. Cubs kind of doing the first divergence here and looking at the character here on Hobbs.
So the character in question, that is a Cecil.
Yeah, that will be very nice to have in a little once we do Mount Ordeals, but that Demas is going to take a little while to get through. Though it is an extra key item check, so it is worth doing. As Joe finding a flavor of Mylon in the waterfall, looking for that Asura and some of the regular boss spots, it looks like.
So, yeah, Demas is a nice thing to find this early on, considering it is a key item that we can pick up. Although, like you said, it is very slow considering our lack of power. But this is a very early fight, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, I agree. You know, especially if there's something, if you get a key item like the the magma key or the hook that gets you a path to the underground or even the darkness crystal. Does look like Edward is using an archer bow and samurai arrows that based on what they saw, so that's doing some pretty decent damage.
Judge Doe ended up going to Troya and found that suck webs are pretty accessible in the Troya Inn, so that'll be helpful for if we were to have to take on Zeromus.
Yeah, and you were talking about the white mage earlier. The longer we're without a white mage, those silk webs can come in handy as well as those exits that he picked up. So nice find there.
Demas is still present as Judge Joe is doing some more shopping, and Cubsville does take out Demas.
Yeah, Cubs fortunately getting to that fight. Gonna loot here in the back of Hobbs, which are checks that I absolutely love. You can find some really good stuff here in these chests by the save point. Not so much this seed, but you can find them. Honestly.
So Cubsville does leave with a Cecil in play, as well as a key item check that we can pick up pretty early since we are in the area for it. Although, of course, Cubs should probably has a different idea in his mind. So we'll see what he does. As Judge Joe is also up to Mount Hobbs, he'll be able to find that Cecil. He will be able to see that D-Mist.
Yeah, Joe did a little bit more shopping. I believe found Cure 2s as well, so that'll help. That'll help make the fight a little bit safer. I was getting a little worried about Cubs there and there's a Boreas as well that should help do a nice chunk of damage.
About 600 HP. Decent amount of damage. Judge does take out D-Mist.
Yeah, but that 600 HP definitely coming in handy there. So, the extra time looting and shopping paying off as Cubs now doing a little bit of shopping of their own and now checking in with Rydia's mom.
Just an Earth Hammer. Not particularly useful, at least for now. But we move on, and we'll see what Cubsville ends up doing. Judge Joe's gonna take a look at the Mist Cave boss, because there is a boss hunt here. Only fighting Vivalis. It's good to see that pretty early on.
Joe tempting the fates to entering Mist from the left-hand side, which is always awkward if the key item here is the package, but yeah, that Earth Hammer will allow him to head on out without a cutscene.
Well, Kebs is going through Castle Evelyn, uh, going to scout out the chests for monsters in the boxes.
Yeah, I think that's the second one they've hit so far.
Yeah, so far they have discovered two of the potential three monsters in boxes.
Which it's great to get those up front because then you can just kind of freely loot the rest and not have to worry about, finding a bunch of nice things, having to reset out and go grab them again. So ends up, if you're gonna, you want to find them as early as possible.
Yeah, it seems like Cubs did end up finding all three of them. So this will be a quick Castle Evelyn for him.
Yeah, I like looting here because they're even though the G Pro will limit the quality of the gear here, something like that samurai bow is going to help that Edward quite a bit, as well as that hourglass too could come in very handy later on. So some nice items here in Evelyn so far.
Looks like Judge spotted an Odin.
Yeah, looks like he's clearing out antlion here. So look at Edward doing work so far.
Yeah, Judge Joe's early game shopping ends up being a good time saver as he receives the package out of that.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see Joe head back to Mist and go check to see the character. There is no Fusoya in this season, so but I do think personally I think that package cutscene is worth sitting through for a Rosa or an Edge, so definitely worth checking out. Plus, Asura could be waiting in Kaipo Inn.
The character on the package is an Edge.
Say his name and he appears, and he's gonna be joining. I think he's gonna be joining Judge Joe's party here in a few minutes.
Oh yeah. This is definitely a good character to have this early on in the game. Cubs is gonna do the Fabul gauntlets and spots a plague. This is the first of the 5 sparkles that has been revealed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if getting enough damage on that plague, thanks to Edward using the flying weakness there. So very nicely done by Cubs, not panicking and just pushing through that fight.
Only a ninja hat for Cubs trouble, but that is another boss down, and it is information that we now have 4 sparkles yet to be revealed.
And we know one is waiting on the required Baron Inn bosses, so depending on if you're cheering for the seed or the runners, you're kind of hoping to see. Oh, you'll be wondering if you're going to see a fast wyvern there.
Very early CPU over in the Kaipo guards spot.
I'm happy to get this boss out of the way as early because, well, it's a relatively safe boss in most spots. You can survive. If you can survive, you have some decent healing, but it just takes so long sometimes. So always good to get out of an easy spot here.
Yeah, so at least the bosses have been rolling pretty good for these runners. Nothing too terrible locked behind later progression. And with that, Judge Joe does uh, pick up that edge.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what we've seen for that edge. I know that we saw I think there was a middle sword that both runners grabbed out of mist, and I know Cubs has a full moon from the Evelyn Castle looting, so that'll be very nice if Cubs decides to add edge to the party, because that'll allow edge to attack from the back row. So a minor thing, but it allows edge to be a little bit safer as he can still do full damage.
Yeah, that full moon is a good choice, and for if you don't have something like a Murasame or a Masa or any of the higher quality katanas for edge.
And it does look like Cubs is going to follow suit and sit through the package cutscene and boss to get the edge, and also again check that Kaipo emboss. We'll find the CPU there, but again, should be pretty happy as that's Ogo in the first spot of the boss as a Baronin.
Not necessarily a bad pull, although you would like to see Wyvern.
Yeah, getting hit with those two big waves to take off half the HP doesn't feel great, especially with the limited healing that there is. But the Calbrana dolls should go down to this flame, I think.
And once again, these are pretty easy bosses. Although the Cal dolls still are still standing. Probably mean you have to get enough damage in before transforming. Yeah, that's. Oh,
That last Cal doll does not want to cooperate, but there we go.
there we are. Ooh, and Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Joe go run up to go to Mysidia and launch the big whale to go check and see what the at least the character in the shop up there. I don't know if he'll take, even though Cape Bahamut's an objective, I don't know if he'll take the time to peek the boss.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. This is a nice early Darkness Crystal, and so yeah, and Judge is just gonna beeline it directly over to Mysidia. It seems like. Actually, she's just gonna stop at a little bit of a bull before heading over to Mysidia because the bull gauntlet is still on the table for him.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You just clean it up. He's still doing some shopping. Get it off. Get it out of your mind, so you don't have to worry about it. Some runners will fade Fabul because until they get the pan, so they can see if they can just take care of all the checks here at once by hitting Yang in the head and then turning it back, everything into Sheila as in the left tower. But I like getting it out of the way because you don't want to run the risk of of missing something important.
For certain, yeah. I think this is a good choice from Judge. Yeah, you do end up not being able to do everything all in one go, but considering this is so early on in the game, it makes perfect sense to do it. And you're after you're done with this, you're heading over to Mysidia anyway. So just wrap the map around, and you should be good to go.
Will be interested to see if these runners stop off and do ordeals before they go to the moon to get Cecil promoted to Paladin. Um, if you do want to make an early moon dive, you really want him. You want him promoted so he can at least cover things, if not hit that hard. Because I don't think we found a really good weapon for him outside of maybe a rune axe on Cubs' side.
Not just that, it's also 3 boss checks. So, Judge would have a better idea. Would be it would be a good idea to do um, um, the ordeals checks just to have the bosses out of the way. Um, if you find a Shura, then you're good. If not, it's fine. Just we'll have Paladin Cecil online, and then we'll head to the moon after that.
Getting a glimpse of Cubs' inventory yet. I don't believe they've had the opportunity. They've taken the time to do the shopping that Joe has either. So, um, it's things like silk webs, things like exits are going to make potentially diving the moon a little bit more palatable, especially since we still don't have we don't have underground access yet, and that can roll somewhere there.
Yeah, because of the unsafe flag, it is entirely possible that underground access, whatever it is, can be situated in the moon, and it looks like Judge Doe is just gonna opt to raise the big whale right now, and probably gonna choose to probably maybe look at the boss's Mysidia later.
Yeah, good chance. Like I said, might want to see if that what that character is. Somebody that can help make those fights a little bit easier, though. Nice part about Edge on this flag set is he does start with his vanilla equipment, so bandana, too short, bandana and a black belt to help him get some early power is very handy. This Cubs now working on the Calbrenna fight and getting the big doll, but
Yeah,
should be able to power through it.
yeah, that's not too much of a big deal. It would have been nice to have Cubs knock down the last Hal doll, but nothing that we can't handle.
And Cubs is through, joining Joe and having their first objective on the board, having the darkness crystal lit up, and getting ready in the party.
There's your dancing daggers.
I think we're a little bit. Fortunately for both these runners, the seed was kind enough to give them good enough bows and arrows that they can they can still use Edward and not have to worry about it too much.
Yeah, this is still the bow and arrow played is a lot more potent at this stage of the game. It would have been nice to see the dancing daggers early, but you know, it's good thing we know where them are. And it looks like Judge Doe before heading up to the before deciding to go over to the moon is gonna go and it looks like maybe stop over Bono deals.
Yeah, I like the play. I like getting Cecil promoted. Like you said, you point out there's 3 boss checks here, so there's a strong there's a decent possibility of finding Asura here. So I agree. That's it. That probably is incentivizing this even further. Um, one thing Cubs is about to find as well. Joe found star veils here in the Mysidia item shop, which if we do see Asura, those are going to be nice to have.
Definitely, it will at least it will be a good strategy to have against Asura to prevent her from healing.
Judge Joe finding the Dark Elf here at the first spot on Ordeals as Cubs is heading to the moon, gonna be checking out, checking out what's here on the. Like I said, at least checking the character in the shop, most likely. May take a look and see what is in Cave Bahamut as far as a boss. I will be extremely impressed. It'll be extremely impressed if Cubs goes to deeper in the Lunar subterrain and starts taking on these bosses with this party, because that would be a very masterful play to get through with this party and what they have.
Yeah, this that is a bold move if Cubs were to go through with it, but it would be a nice thing to see. If anything, it's also checking the if you don't get past them, at least you're checking the bosses to see what they are.
Couple of interesting items in that Lunar shop: illusions and Thor rages. Looks like Cubs picked up a stack of the Thor rages. Might be preparing for a giant grind later if things work out that way, as Cubs now finds Joe finds the elements in the back attack spot. So
Again, not necessarily a bad pull by any means. And it looks like Cubs does spot another edge over on the throne room.
yeah, I still think that it was that the both runners made the right call going for the package. You take the character in hand. You didn't have the Darkness Crystal yet. Plus, you really want to check that boss spot, because you'd hate for the whole seed to be predicated on not checking that when you get, especially when you got it that early. So, I absolutely, I still think both of them made the right call there. And our restreamer Firebird Lover and our tracker Fallgran confirming that Cubs did buy us a large stack of illusions as well, which I really like considering we don't have that white mage yet.
Yeah, this is definitely the right choice considering the party lineup that we have at the moment, and so we'll have at least a cast of blink on command for some of these later bosses. Should we not find a white mage early somewhere in this seed, if at all. Rat Tail for Judge Joe. It looks like Cubsville found a sparkle.
Yeah, I wisely gonna walk out there and leave that for the future, because I think we've seen Ogopogo, we've seen Plague, so 3 of those bosses are gonna be very unpleasant.
Yeah, definitely. And Judge Doe does finish up this Octoman fight here in the DKC spot, and which will promote Cecil into a paladin. No sign of Ashura over on Mount of Deals, which is fine. We do have paladin on Cecil online for Judge.
Yeah, I mean, that right now that's the big prize, because that stack of illusions and Cecil, I think we correct me if I'm wrong, Ren, but we've seen everything on the blue planet we can get to in this flag set. So our underground access is hiding on the moon somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like we are out of blue planet checks, so we're gonna go ahead and just remain our focus is now situated on the moon. So although there is, I believe, a Tower of Zod. I think a few Tower of Zod boxes. I believe one boss there, unless that's not locked behind Earth Crystal.
Yeah, remember we got that deed mist off of Hobbs, so you know be great to get the Asura off the table as early as now, but I don't think there's a key item up there.
Not without the Earth Crystal, no. There's at least one boss, but no potential key item yet, which means key items will have to be situated on the moon.
Yeah, that's right. Unless they shine the Earth Hammer we got from Rydia's mom and trick Golbez, maybe you think he'll fall for that?
Maybe, I don't know.
We have the payable Golbez wacky flag. Do we have the trickable Golbez?
Anyway, Judge Doe is going to do a little bit of grinding here to get the party up into a decent level here.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to get a slingshot going on both Cecil and Rydia, knocking them down for these fights.
Which is a smart play. If you're going to go, since you found Rydia and Cecil fairly early on, and they're still at decent amounts, at very like normal level ranges, it would make sense for Judge to hold on to have Rydia and Cecil down to get ready for a potential slingshot. If for example we're going to want to go up to the Giants, or if you wanted to go. Or if we wanted to get a slingshot somewhere else, or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see where Judge goes next, knowing that having done everything here on the Blue Planet so far that can get them an item. Meanwhile, Cubs getting through that elements fight on the back attack of Ordeals and getting ready for that Octoman fight. I believe found a Thunderclaw, so that should we should have Calamari very soon.
So Cubs is gonna see this Octoman fight. Again, would have been nice to see Azura right here in this spot, but Paladin Cecil will be ready for Cubs upon completion of this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just once that boss is located, this becomes a very straightforward seed of just clear those three lunar fights and figure out how to go fight Z. With Asura being hidden, there's a lot of searching you get that these runners might have to do to find her. So looks like Joe is getting ready for a giant grind. Looking like Mac Giants.
Yeah, I would imagine maybe going for this Mac Giant play, which I do think this is the right decision, because this is after all the slingshot that Judge Doe was setting up for a slingshot. This might be our way to get to Z. If Judge Doe is willing to just go with a power overwhelming strat. Oh, it looks like that was a reset over on Judge Doe's side.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar with the step manipulation outside of Baron for the giant fights, there is a very handy chart that the community has put together to let you know when you're basically how to get the encounter that you want. And unfortunately, a lot of times you run into the situation of you get an encounter on a certain number of steps, and the chart says reset because you're not going to get the fight you're looking for. So it looks like Joe got hit with one of those zonks to start off with. But looks like, nope, not happy with that one either, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, Cubs is back in Castle Evelyn, and it's going to take on these monsters in the boxes.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get that Cecil powered up right away. Um, might see two very different approaches to this moon challenge based on that, because if Cubs is getting experience on that Cecil, maybe using a different setup for a Mac Giant fight if they want to go that route, or they could just be deciding that they're going to go fight bosses and see what's there.
Yeah, I think if Judge Joe is opting to go for this Mac Giant play, it's evident to me that Judge Joe might be trying to hunt for bosses. You have the Elements fight, and you also have the CPU fight. The Elements fight, if Ashura is right there, then we're gonna have to deal with quite a lot of HP to chip away with.
I think both runners have found a mute knife, but I think only Cubs has found the rune axe that Cecil can use. So, especially if she's at that element spot, you want everything that'll take advantage of that mage weakness she has.
Yeah, definitely. It looks, and Judge Joe is now starting this giant dive. And like we had mentioned a couple times already, this is with the Mac Giants now in play. Encounters are going to be turned on here, and this should be our Mac Giant grind.
It looks like Joe's pretty nicely set up for where he wants to be. Rydia's already weakened, so she's going to be getting the auto cover early on. Looks like I think if I saw it right, that cover went on edge, so should be able to get this going pretty quickly here.
So in the meantime, as Judge Joe throws a soak web out to slow down the enemies here, Cubs is gonna do a little bit of shopping here, potentially looking like maybe just starting that moon dive if Cubs is wanting to do this play.
Yeah, Joe had already done his shopping, so Cubs just now taking the time and getting things in position here. So we'll see. Looks like going back to Evelyn to look for a little bit more loot or a little bit more experience on the party before making a decision.
Yeah. In the meantime, Cubs was going back to fight more monsters in boxes.
Our chat is incredulous that we're seeing a Mac Giant grind here. Not something that we are too familiar with seeing after, our last major tournament, the Highway to the Zeromus 76.
Yeah, and yeah, it's something that probably might be a bit fresh in our runners' minds after that tournament.
Yeah, I was curious to see, when I started running a few years ago, and it's one of those things where you rarely saw the Mac Giant grind utilized, and I was curious to see how much faster people would be willing to utilize it after that tournament and getting so familiar with it. And we see that here with Joe. going for that option a lot sooner than just taking a moon dive, though. This is getting a little bit concerning with not being able to get that Cecil healed up and able to cover the party.
Yeah, this does feel a little tricky because um, those punches from that Mech Giant are doing quite a bit of damage.
I don't know if Rydia has learned Stop on Joe's side yet. That might be something that can help by a little bit of time. Stop doesn't last all that long, but it is a way of slowing down a single and stopping a single enemy and getting a few more actions in.
So, Cubsville looks like he has finished his Eblin Castle dive, and see what Cubs wants to do next. Now that he's back in his airship, and it looks like going back to Baron to maybe do Mad Giants.
Yeah, looks like it. Getting ready. Yep, there's the reset for the manipulation. So, as John Burkhead in chat pointing out, it is the best grind available, especially with the limited resources on T Pro and S Pro. So, no question there. I do think Cubs is taking a safer approach overall because while their Cecil will not get the slingshot that Joe's will, being able to have that extra, you've got that extra couple hundred HP on Cecil, going to be a little bit better situated to take those punches, plus the illusions that Cubs picked up on the moon.
Yeah, and this will be a lot more of a safer Mac Giant grind with the knowledge that illusions were on the moon. Whereas Judge doesn't have that bit of insight, and is just waiting to take the moon on last.
Go full credit to Joe here. This is not an easy. This is not easy, and so far, doing a good job of keeping this grind going.
Yeah, despite the fact that it is a very scary fight, it is still workable, and it looks like Rydia does have stop, so this will give him give Judge a few more attacks out.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely help Joe get the fight stabilized and continuing in the proper direction.
Cubswell is going to be joining Judge Joe in the Giants for his Mac Giant grind. So we'll see how Cubs handles this with the knowledge that he has illusions, and he has a bit more of a much more ready-ish party with what Cubs knows.
Yeah, both runners have plenty of gear. I think looks like both Edge and Yang are using Charm Claws to attack the giant weakness on the Mac Giants. And I believe Edward had a stack of Charm Arrows. I don't know how many more he's got left, but doing pretty good damage.
And Cub's roll is using the same method that Judge is using, and that is using just a rod's item effect to deal 1 damage to the searcher to cause the alert to happen, which triggers the Mat Giants to spawn.
Yeah, you'll see runners use that or Thor Rages to do the smallest amount of damage possible to searchers to avoid accidentally cutting their grind short by doing too much damage to it. So very, very smart use of that. I think the rod's got 2 uses. One is activating searchers and the other taking out level 1 Rydias.
And Cubs is immediately taking advantage of the fact that he did have those illusions on hand, so he used them on Cecil to get a free miss on to get a free 2 hits without having Cecil get knocked down.
Yeah, illusions aren't the cheapest, aren't the most inexpensive item in the game, but they are absolutely worth their weight in gold in some of in flag sets, especially when you don't have that white mage. Just being able to utilize Cecil's cover ability with this much safety, you can see how much faster Cubs is already starting to get through these Mac Giants. Because not having to take the time to heal and get the party back up.
Yeah, and especially considering that Judge consistently has to keep using life to heal the party back up and to prevent any knockdowns from occurring.
Do have a question in chat about the life glitch and as well as the Mac Giant grind. So, Ren, would you like to kind of give the quick primer on the grind and particularly the life glitch that both these runners have been taking advantage of?
So the life glitch is whenever you attempt to use a life, either like a life 1 or 2, or just a life item on a enemy that has already been defeated, the life will still go off, but the life is the HP you would get out of it is dependent on the vitality, and because enemies do not have any vitality, they will still be considered 0 HP and getting another quote unquote kill in a sense, but you didn't actually kill the boss, so it's just basically you get 2 for the price of 1. And with the match, and this is how the we're doing this Mat Giant grind, because we are spawning as much Mat Giants as possible, and by using the life glitch, we effectively double how many Mat Giants we would have been taken out if we had just done 1 at a time.
Yeah, if you are getting into free enterprise, this is absolutely one of those skills that you want. These things you want to get down. There are 2 primary giant grinds: the Mac Giant and the D Machine near the top floors. Both are extremely useful skills to have. As you can see, Judge Joe in one in the span of just a few minutes, getting Rydia all the way up to level 50, getting Nuke on her so she is fully operational. And again, very nicely done keeping that with that grind with the resources and everything available. Very nicely handled.
And it looks like this is a spot for the Kaipo guards. It's good to see them at the very least.
Yeah, this is one of those bosses that you would have liked to have found on the moon if you were diving early, because I know Cubs has a couple of Hourglass 2s from Castle Evelyn, so this will be very easy. But Rydia's got Stone, should be able to just yeah, if it hits, take care of all these guards all at once and get another nice bundle of experience.
First stone misses.
We've replaced our summoner with Tella. Let's see if Judge Joe notices.
Meanwhile, Cubs is still on his Mach Giant grind. The second stone misses. At the very least, this is still a fairly free fight because these soldiers don't do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say the same thing. Getting these extra chances in part because the element spot doesn't have the most melee, and the soldiers, yeah, they don't hit that hard. So third time, not the charm. Yeah, I like this play. Just use the coffin, get rid of the leader so you're not getting attacked. Looks like going to get 2 life glitches off on that officer, so that'll be a huge bundle of experience on top of what they've already gotten from the grind.
Yeah, you can scale. You can stack life glitches to not just double your XP that you would have done if you just used one, but effectively triple your XP gain from that from the fact that enemies do not have any vitality. And there's the fourth time's the charm, apparently, and Judge Doe is through.
Yeah, the officer was throwing off Rydia's aim, so getting rid of them. But honestly, I think that works out a little bit better for Joe, because that's just that much extra experience they got out of that fight, which already offers a lot of experience, even though we're just in the single value of experience with only 4 key items. We're not getting the bonus experience that the 10 key items provides our runners. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good thing you're pointing out too, because of the fact that we're still sitting at 4 key items. That much XP without the double XP bonus from having 10 key items is still nothing to shake a stick at. Although these Dark Imps here in the CPU spot is a bit of a rude awakening.
Yeah, this is where I definitely would want those hourglasses that Cubs had, because Dark Imps are a free fight. They don't have the boss bit, so you can use Stone, you can use Stop, and there we go. Stone cooperating this time, and honestly at a much higher priority time. So Rydia coming in clutch there. But when you're getting those 3 punches in a row in some of these spots, it turns into a very scary fight.
Definitely, but we are through the giant. No Asura this time, but hey, that we are through with a lot of XP in our possession. We do see another edge appear, so no white mage still, but at this point we're probably just gonna go for power overwhelming anyway.
Yeah, actually, our third edge of the seed. Yeah. Uh, no dupes. Otherwise, I could see swapping out Edward even after 50 levels for one of those edges because a little bit more survivability. Um, while we were focusing on that fight, though, Cubs did finish their grind as well, so did get Rydia up the nuke. So also where they want to be. So gonna go through these two free adjacent fights.
And Judge Joe's gonna go ahead and head down to Cave Bahamut. I believe this is now Judge just gonna we see this blind. We won't be seeing this because Cubs did scout it, I believe, earlier on, unless I'm getting it mixed up and Judge actually did it already. No, it looks like his Judge is going to scout it. It did scout it out a little bit, and then now is going to take it.
Yeah, I probably checking to see if it's Golbez. That way, do I need to do a little bit of setup here? Gotta find the D-Lunars here, which isn't an easy spot. Isn't an easy fight at this spot, but should be doable.
Yeah, this should still be a fairly decent fight, all things considered. Considering we did just come off of a Max Giant grind, we have Nuke on file. We have a very, very, very punch heavy Yang at the ready.
Yeah, Joe taking advantage of having the starting Fire Claw on Yang, doing extra damage on the D-Lunar. Very nice use of the items there, taking advantage of the fact that Yang's claws can attack those elemental weaknesses. Cubs is still opting not to go do the Dark Imp fight.
Probably deciding maybe to, although there was a reset that just happened. Looks like Cubs has a bit of a change of heart and actually is going to go for this DM fight now.
Yeah, getting out of the giant takes a little while, and plus, I think may have seen those. May have remembered that they had those hourglasses, which will make this fight a lot safer. So, good use of the items the seeds provided, even with the limited options.
And with Cave Bahamut now completed, Judge Joe now is going to head to the Lunar subterrain. Going to take down those bosses that are there. There's a good chunk of them. And if we find a Shura there, then all we need to do now is just take those and just get through the rest of the altars, and we'll be on our way to fight Z.
Yeah, I blinked and missed it. I don't know what Joe got as a reward at the Cave Bahamut. Did you catch that, Ren?
Yeah, it was our tracker confirming that it was a Crystal Rain.
Okay. I boost and a very strong piece of defensive gear is going to be real nice for that Rydia.
And Judge Joe now sees the edge that was already on that was discovered by Cubs, and now, and this is seeing that this is Judge's third edge that he has seen.
even though the ribbon and the Masamune altars are at our objectives and are at the bottom, Joe is going to check here at the top at the Marasame altar first.
Which is fine because you are still looking for Ashura. That is a wyvern. Yeah, just soak wet that. And that wasn't good. That wasn't enough.
Wyvern cares not for your Zeromus level ready levels.
Yeah, it looks like Judge will have to go through this cutscene again with the throne room after wiping to wyvern.
So this is not necessarily required, unless of course Wyvern has a key item that gates Asura's boss spot. So I do think that'll be a problem for the future, but hopefully not going to be something that they have to deal with going forward.
Yeah, I think in this situation, you see that, okay, we end up we did check a boss, cross it off for now, and then we just keep moving down. We are going from top to bottom, considering that our to specifically say that it's things that are from the bottom of the lunar subterranean, that being the ribbon room and the Masamune altar.
There goes the second breath for Cubs, getting lunar. We have lunar frogs on their side, so making the fight a lot safer there. And our restreamer Firebird Lover pointing out two important distinctions here with these flags. We do have the K unsafe flag on. That means the key item can be here on the moon. That gates underground access. But B unsafe is not on, meaning that bosses like Wyvern and Golbez, or I believe Valvalis, can't block the underground access. So we do know that that's not going to be the logical underground access. Could still have like an Earth Crystal with Asura at Zot too, but not going to be our underground access there.
And it looks like a judge is going to go dive straight into the vanilla ribbon room, and did spot a mob bomb. This is going for the objective here, instead of just going down the line and just going for the white spear and then the ribbon room, which is fine. You always do your objectives.
Yeah, no, I mean, do your freebies, do your objectives has long been the mantra, and absolutely agree with. I mean, I personally really like checking the Marasame altar early. I like doing a top-down approach to the moon in general, just because it's a relatively quick walk, even if you end up resetting out. But you know, obviously the priority is getting down here and getting those objectives off the table, especially since objectives have a funny way of leading to other objectives.
Yeah, definitely. And Bomb Bomb is in the pre-explosion phase with the last couple of HP left, at which a nuke can easily get over. And that is a Bomb Bomb completed and a vanilla ribbon room done. Baron key.
Yeah, that opens up two more boss checks that we haven't seen. I do not remember what our starting boss was. It's been an hour and 4 minutes, so I have completely forgotten that information.
Yeah, I don't know if it's. I don't know for certain. What we know is that it is not Ashura.
Yeah, that's the main one these runners care about right now. They're pretty much set up to take on anything throughout the seed at this point. You know, even if they need to, both these runners can take on that wyvern at the Marasmi altar. It's just going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit of prep and planning.
The Murasame altar.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Murasame altar, that is we do see a karate man position there. Getting Cecil ready to queue up for the script to take us out really easily.
Yeah. Nice. Nice way of chewing through a pretty HP heavy spot. There is just skip most of it. So Cub's getting ready to go square off with the mom bomb in the ribbon room. Again, very similar situation, so should be able to get through this pretty well.
So just going to go ahead and take a save here, tent and save at the very least. And then the next couple of and then Judge will have to do a few more boss checks here because we do have all of our Baron Inn and Moon Moon check objectives completed, but no Ashura. White Ribbon Room does have our Ashura, so we're done. Yeah, that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
That was easy.
So, not gonna need to go underground. Not gonna go see what's behind that Baron key. Can go save and take a walk.
Yeah, that was easy enough. We don't even need to worry about the wyvern or whatever's on the whatever the bosses left on the moon.
You know, we'll just for fun, you know. Actually, this is probably one of those times where it rolled a magma key behind an alt gauntlet, the crystal sword altar, just being mean, but it's not relevant. Though, chat pointing out that, you know, there's one thing that I don't think we've seen. Actually, two things I don't think we've seen: Cure 3s or an Asura summon for Rydia. So we may be still looking for a few things here.
Yeah, not even just that too. We also, as John Burke has also pointed out, we don't even have any way to go to do Berserk. We don't even have any Bacchus wine.
And even the S Pro flag rearing its head here because vampires are a gated item in this flag set, so not even going to be able to do what we call 1200 strats and reflect the items back. So, yeah, may need to figure out. These runners may be scrambling a little bit trying to figure out how to approach this, or they may just say go for it.
Yeah, so we do have Crystal on Judge Joe's side after completing the Ashura fight. Getting the party ready. We'll see what Judge decides to do upon completing this. Upon getting out of this out of the menu here. If we were to possibly if I was playing this, I'd probably still look for items, but it looks like Judge Joe's just gonna go for it. And he thinks that seeing that golden apple here will did change his, or that's or no, yeah, these are golden apples. Probably had a change of heart. Maybe had I just wanted to try and maybe use that to get a bit more HP under the hood. But yeah, other than that, Judge Joe's is gonna go for it. We do have we should still have silk webs in the tank for Zeromus nerfing. And if not, then we are gonna have to go for this. We're gonna have to take all these big veins at full power. Although it looks like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, I do believe I saw a couple silk webs still in Joe's inventory, as well as a handful of star veils. So, might be doing a bit of might be just relying on Rydia with reflect strats to go over to get over the get the kill, and maybe try to do a little bit of damage up front with these other characters, not being able to zerk them up and go from there.
Yeah, so Judge Joe's finally down to the bottom of the Lunar subterrain, and I'm gonna make it quick. We can't change move Zeromus because it's too strong and too bad. So we're just changing the sprite. So whose butt are we going to kick tonight? And all the respective follow-up questions.
I hope it's festive. I hope it's very festive and fitting for the scene. Is it a butt from the naughty list or the nice list?
Who knows? We'll have to see when we when this crystal gets thrown here. Crystal is queued up. Meanwhile, Cubs is also trying to get geared up for this potential Zeromus fight, and it looks like we have a Terminator, or it looks like maybe a Terminator.
Yeah, depends on where in the timelines we are as far as whether this is naughty or nice. So
Depends.
Does look like Cubs is making their way down as well to go tackle Terminus. Our tracker pointing out Arnold was in some Christmas movies, therefore the Terminator has been in some. Do we just want to, this is Jingle All the Way right here, right?
Let's say it's Jingle All the Way. Yeah, sure. Something to make it work, right? But yeah, Cubs is also gonna join Judge Joe in this Z fight, taking on this Terminator.
Yeah, these two runners have definitely, they've taken very similar paths. The only real difference, the main difference is Joe did a little bit of shopping earlier, got that out of the way, while Cubs took a little bit more time fighting the monster boxes in Castle Eblin to get powered up before the Mac Giant grind. Very similar paths, both did things very well, so it's fitting that they're both in the Z fight here.
Yeah, so this is with Judge Joe having a bit of a head start here compared to Cubs. But this is still this isn't a free fight by any means, but it is still manageable and also doable.
You see Joe getting damage on Terminus, and now relying on getting those nukes reflected from Rydia to avoid the refill counter script that the refill script that Zeromus has, and make this fight a lot more manageable because then you only have half the HP to go through.
All right, see how this big thing lines up here. This is on nerfs. It looks like Edge did go down, and Yang is still holding on for dear life. Although this nuke is gonna change that right away.
Yeah, a little slow on the silk web there to try and nerf the Big Bang. So taking that at full strength and then taking the counter nuke as well. That's the key person here being alive is Rydia. So not the worst outcome, but definitely going to make this fight a little bit sketchier.
Yeah, and it looks like Judge decided to hide Edward so that the chances of a reflection from Z is a bit more higher, a little higher than what it was normally.
Yeah, that's a good safety measure there. It's going to kind of depend on how fast the Rydia can get these last couple nukes out and do the damage. Because the downside is when you've only got one party member, Zeromus moves very quickly.
Yeah, and we don't want that to happen. So another big thing's coming out here. Rydia is definitely going to be going down here. Ooh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not nerfing that one, and I do like that call because otherwise would have probably had the counter nuke there. And the counter on Virus does it.
Wow.
There's the crack. There is the crumble. Very nicely done by Judge Joe. First on Restream here, that was a very wise decision to get that Star Veil up, and knowing the script for Zeromus and taking advantage of it, and letting Z finish the job for him.
Yeah, that was a very heads-up play from Judge, for sure, and it's pretty fitting that the way that that Zeromus goes down is to one of his own attacks at the very end of his script.
Yeah, that very, very well done fight there by Judge Joe. That was a high degree of difficulty to say the least, and making it through and getting the win here.
Meanwhile, over on Cubsville's side, Z is still standing. Doing some good work here. Again, with that a bit more safety compared to how Judge Joe did it. But this is still not a free fight, as it is.
Yeah, Zeromus fights have a very nasty way of, the second you don't respect them, they come and they bite you. So very, very, very much very few free fights with Zeromus.
Definitely. Okay, so another nuke goes out. I'm gonna go throw another nuke down with reflect strats once again.
we are joined now by first on Restream, and I believe I heard correctly second overall, Judge Joe. GG, congratulations.
Thank you. That felt like a blast from the past from the most recent tournament.
Yeah, we were mentioning this too. This was a nice. We did both Mad Giants grinds were very interesting in the sense that Cubs had a bit more safety compared to you, whereas you had you did have a little bit of you were trying to have a little bit of difficulty getting stabilized, but you still managed to get it through regardless. And also, side notes, Cubsville did finish it out second on Restream. GG's out.
GG's Cubs. That was not the easiest Z fight if you didn't go shopping for curatives. You have to either push your turns, push a little extra damage, and have Rydia really roll to get through up until before really the second Big Bang comes out, or manage your HP, potentially nerf a second Big Bang, use safety strats with Edward, or however you can do it to just keep on resurrecting people as needed to finish the job.
Yeah,
Fun Z.
Yeah, that was a fun Z fight, all things considered too. That was again another example of just having a bit more. It was a bit more challenging for you compared to Cubs, but it still managed to just respect the Z fight in the ends too. Yeah, and so yeah, really well played. Just the main thing that was different was that at the very early game was that you ended up shopping for more items. But other than that, it was very much pretty much close by to the very end.
Those shops, like if I go and just use what I looted to squeak through a couple fights, I get the edge and don't need to do as much shopping. But a dancing dagger would have kind of been a lot better than Archer Bow Edward as my only source of damage.
Yeah, you did make pretty good use of that early on. Though, I think you found that stack of samurai arrows pretty early to help that out. One thing I wanted to comment on was how well you managed to hold together that Mac Giant grind. That was not the easiest setup to get through that fight. So very nicely done with the resources you had at the time there. And
yeah, the Silk Web helps,
too, obviously.
And the Silk Web helps, and then let's go cat. But Silk Web helps slow it down, get a little less punching, and then pretty much as long as you're putting out actions. You can't just sit there, think about what you're doing. Even if it's a random swing for 20 damage, the more actions you're putting out, the more parity you're getting, the more turns you're getting, which means if you need to be throwing life potions, you are more likely to get them before a punch. If you need to get more damage, you're chipping it away. When you're going a full life potion roulette, the number one thing to remember is keep those actions coming. Don't pause.
Yes, that was something that was nice to watch you play. And yeah. If you have any, do you have any other questions to ask, Roddy?
No, those are the big things. Very, very fast, very straightforward seed, and very, very well done. Again, high difficulty on the Mac Giant grind, extremely high difficulty on that Z fight. You handed them masterful, nicely done.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for putting on commentary. Thanks, Restream everything. Always fun to watch them. Always fun to be a part of them. So, like the club, love the randomizer. I hope everyone has been enjoying it.
And GG's and congrats once again.
Yeah. Have a good night, everyone, and Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas to you as well.
Thank you very much.
And while we wait for Cubs to arrive, once again, give GGs to both of our runners. And if you like what you see, definitely give them both a follow, as well as follow the Free Enterprise channels. We do quite a lot of random races here, especially considering that the club season has started up once again. And I do believe we have a Cubs rule here in the booth of us. GGs and congrats once again.
Thank you. GGs. I haven't had a no underground scene in a little while. That was a little bit hair raising.
No Cure 3s, no Asura, no White Mage, no problem.
30 Cure 2s and a stack of illusions is all you need. No, that didn't quite get the timing on that last nerf, so it was a little worried trying to get that one out before the virus hit, but that last nuke high rolled and snuck that one out.
Yeah, and it was one thing that was both of you and Judge were pretty much at the same pretty much close by together. The only difference that separated the two was Judge having a bit of an early early knowledge of the shops in the early game and having a bit more items just coming out of those shops and helping to get past them.
Yeah, the illusions on the moon sealed the Mac Giant, but I'm okay not shopping in these flags because Earth shops are kind of garbage on S Pro, but the seed just kind of sets you up there with, Schrodinger's Go mode 10 minutes in from Baron, and thank God for that Edge. That was a very rough party starting out, and Edge kind of saved it.
Yeah, Edge being very early on in the race was nice to see, considering that the package was very, very accessible, and if it wasn't for that, we would be having a completely different story altogether. It would have been nice to have any other. It would have been nice to have some form of like White Mage and stuff like that, but that.
Yeah, and that's why I took Giant after doing the Mac Giant. I was praying for a White Mage out there. Sadly, just another dupe Edge, but that was just a free little Giant there. That was fun.
Yeah,
kind of get those when it's an objective.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the freest Giants that could have possibly rolled there, considering that they both had boss bits off, and so you go to town with like stones or coffins, stuff like that.
Yeah, you see that objective list early, and it's just like, okay, this is one key item go mode. Help. In danger. So thankfully the seed provided a path through. I honestly wasn't expecting Cecil to tank the Mac Giants as well as he did. I wouldn't need to go back for that second set of illusions, but I was very happy the way that worked out.
Yeah, your Mac Giant grind was very smooth because of those extra illusions, as well as the time you spent in Castle Evelyn getting a few extra levels on. I think that was really the only difference between you and Joe that we saw here on Restream as far as actual checks that the two of you did.
Yeah, I was really looking for either a Glass Hat or a Zeus Gauntlet in Evelyn to just really seal that Mac Giant. There was just enough defense there between the Diamond Helm and the Sork Robe that I think that there was enough to get through it, but that was not a comfortable fight. I kept waiting for the high rolls to come, and thankfully I got a little lucky targeting.
Yeah, Other than that, I would say both of you had put on a pretty good show, and glad all of them are pretty happy, and for this that this race ended up being pretty close for this Christmas edition of our community club showcase. And,
yeah, the last Lunar Async, not the current one. The previous one was like a 2.5 hour seed. So I think I'm just happy to be out of here in an hour 20.
Yeah, definitely. I'd imagine so. Yeah, considering. Yeah, I mean, it was still a good race all around, right? So
Yeah.
and I got nothing else to really comment on it too. Other than that, just it was a good race, and I hope that everyone was had a good time watching it.
Yeah, very nicely run on that Z. Particularly that Z fight. That was not easy, and GG on getting through that and making it look as easy as you could.
No, thank you very much again, Falgren. Thank you for tracking both of you on comms. Firebird, we're gonna have a talk later, but thankfully you gave us just enough. Thank you. Till next time. Thank you very much, everybody.
GG, thank you.
GG's. But yeah, that concludes our showcase of the Lunar Racing Club. And again, if you like what you saw, give both runners a follow and follow the free enterprise channels. And of course, if you ever wanted to get in on the free enterprise, come join our Discord. We are very friendly and very willing to help you learn the ins and outs of the randomizer. And with that, we will send it on over to Inven. Of course, just don't spoil anything during the race, otherwise you will incur the wrath of the juice paper. So with that, I'm Professor Render, and Rowdy, you can go ahead and take us out.
All right, thank you all for watching. Thank you to Falgren for tracking, Firebird Lover for running the restream, and of course to you, Professor Renderer, for doing a wonderful job in commentary. It's been a blast here on Christmas, and thank you all for watching.
All right, here's Inven.
Okay, turns out we're not going to be able to raid, so please go check out Inven, but we are not going to be able to raid in. But thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful night. Take care. Thank you.